Hello, my name is Dr. Tony Page, and I would like to share with you today some teachings from the great Mahayana Sutra called the Angulimaliya Sutra. In this sutra, the Buddha Shakyamuni is joined by the great Bodhisattva, indeed Buddha, Angulimala. And together they communicate some very, very important dharmic transmissions. Very early on in the sutra, the Buddha Shakyamuni himself states that the essence of all phenomena is the Tathagatagarbha. Now, the Tathagatagarbha is the Buddha principle, the Buddha essence, the Buddha nature. And you remember perhaps that in the Mahayana Mahaparinirvana Sutra, the Buddha said something very similar. He said that, and I quote, "In truth, there is the self, the Atman, in all phenomena." So in the one sutra, he calls it the self, the Atman, and here in the Angulimaliya Sutra, he calls it the Tathagatagarbha. But they are the same. They are the Buddhic, the pure Buddhic mind, the spirit, the soul of Buddha, which is present in all things, in you and in me, in your cat, your dog, in the trees and plants and animals and rocks, stones, the sky above, the air, the gases, the oxygen. Everything has, as the Buddha says in the Angulimaliya Sutra, everything has as its svabhava, as its essence, its intrinsic nature, the Buddha nature, the Tathagatagarbha. Now, at another point in the Angulimaliya Sutra, the Buddha tells, Angulimala, who is, as I said, in his own right a Buddha, Angulimala tells of how one should go through life regarding the body, and here he speaks of two forms of body, the outer, the physical body, and the Buddha within. And the outer body can be destroyed, it can be cut into pieces, but the Buddha remains and remains eternally. Let's just see what exactly the quotation on that point is. We read, "The Tathagata, the Buddha, is permanent, everlasting, quiescent, eternal. Whether sentient beings believe or do not believe, whether my body is killed, whether it is cut into pieces, from the start, my body is a permanent, exalted body." End of quotation. Now, clearly, when the body being cut into pieces is referred to, that is the physical body. And when the eternal, permanent, exalted body is being referenced, that is the Buddha body, the Dharmakaya, the Tathagatagarbha, which can never be destroyed. Let's go further in the sutra and have a look now at the very negative consequences that flow forth from persons who criticize or denigrate the Buddha nature teachings, the Tathagatagarbha, the Buddha essence doctrine. There are some very grave warnings for such persons in this sutra, because to attack the high-level dharmic teachings from the Buddha and from the Buddhas is not something that should be lightly engaged in, because it is an attack upon ultimate truth, and the negative karmic energy generated by such attacks on truth are very, very unpleasant indeed. Let's see what the sutra says about those persons who do not have faith in the reality of the Tathagatagarbha, the Buddha essence. Here is what the sutra tells us. Those who were shameless crows in previous lives, who were extremely ungrateful and ate unclean food, are even now impoverished, lacking in shame, and do not have faith in the Tathagatagarbha. In future lives too, these are none other than those who will become agitated upon hearing about the Tathagatagarbha from somebody who gives beneficial teachings, and they will not believe that there is an Atma-dhatu, a soul element, a self principle, for they will be shameless crows who eat unclean food. End of quotation. Now notice that faith in the Tathagatagarbha is very important. Shraddha in Sanskrit, faith in the veracity, the truthfulness of the Buddha's words and the accuracy of his teachings. And notice that we should be grateful for these teachings on the Buddha Dhatu and not try to minimize them, downplay them, or avoid them altogether, as unfortunately is often the case with certain groups of Buddhists. Let's go to a final quotation from the Angulimaliya Sutra, where again we are warned of the serious consequences that can accrue to us if we denigrate, if we minimize or trivialize, or do not give adequate respect to the Tathagatagarbha, which, as we have heard, is the essence of all things. Let's read what that says. Those who were hungry ghosts with flames issuing forth from their mouths, and who denigrated and insulted the Tathagatagarbha, even now are skinny ghosts with parched lips and throats, creatures with flames issuing forth from their mouths. In future lives too, they are none other than those people with thin bodies who denigrate and insult the Tathagatagarbha. End of quotation. So we finish this little conversation today on a note of warning that to attack the Tathagatagarbha doctrine, to reduce its importance, to reinterpret and distort its truth into something which it is not, for example, a mere metaphor or just the ordinary mind, the skandhic ego, that is seriously warned against in this sutra. I hope that these communications from the Angulimaliya Sutra have been of value to you, have been of interest, and will help point your own practice in a Buddhically very fruitful direction. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you again at some future date, hopefully. Meanwhile, I wish you every happiness always. Thank you, and goodbye to you. Bye.